Hi there. Grab a cuppa, take a seat, come and meet your health coach. Brought to you by vitalhealthcoaches.com. Hello and welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Clare Sharpen, and today I'm really pleased to have Polly Byrne on the podcast with us. Hi, Polly, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Polly, let's start. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Polly. I'm a health coach. I'm 45 years of age and I love to hike. I love to get outdoors as much as possible. I think it's really important to be outdoors daily. I like to run, but intermittently, the hiking is more of the thing for me. I run my own company, business development and growth strategy company, and I do the health and well-being for one-to-one and workplace well-being.
Great. So, what was it that inspired you to start health and wellbeing coaching? And how would you say your personal journey has kind of shaped your approach?
Health coaching has always been playing on my mind, really, if I think about it. Even from being a teenager, health and well-being became prevalent in my life. Sadly, a member of the family was terminally ill. But at the time that happened, I noticed that I felt more could be done. More could be done to support somebody who was so unwell. And over the years, I progressed to widen my perspective and my understanding of what health meant to me, how I could look after my own health. And also, I just found it really important to put these books that I was reading. I was very much inspired, but actually in my late 20s by Patrick Holford,
Hmm.
of understanding vitamins and minerals, more so of how it could help me. So from that, I started to put my own formula together and my own wellness plan. And then over the years, it just carried on. So I've looked at mindfulness, I've looked at yoga, I've looked at Pilates, I've looked at extreme hiking. I've done many things that I feel is good for my well-being and gives me empowerment and joy.
And it's interesting, it sounds like you had to do all of that on your own.
Yeah, yes. It has been quite a one-track journey, in all honesty. It's been very much about finding my own feet and finding my own way. But I found that has made me one, very independent, confident to know that wellness is a thing. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet, and it's very important for people to know what they value, and with that, build it in so they can have better life and
Hmm.
more fulfilling life.
I like that. Wellness is a thing. It's so true. So, I know something you like to talk about is the importance of resilience and adaptability. So, these are things that we hear people talking about, but how do you actually help clients, people who come to you for support, kind of cultivate these qualities of resilience and adaptability?
Well, I've made it sound very simple, haven't I? And it's not that. I mean, it takes a long time to become adaptable and resilient. It's not an overnight success. It's about starting from a very basic level again, getting into the groundwork of understanding what makes a person tick. So going back to basics, looking at values, looking at behavioral patterns, even anything like that, that they're not probably aware of. But it's nice to support people to coach them through to find their awareness to these problems that are causing them the restrictions within their life. When that all happens and they start to open their perspective and they realize that they're probably functioning under high stress, which automatically makes us very in tunnel vision, and they can't see anything either side. If you've got a safe environment, which is the coaching environment, it gives that time to regulate the nervous system to then be able to open up that perspective and look at different avenues to be able to understand what resilience means to them and how to be adaptable. And adaptable, it's small steps. It's not big leaps. And I think that's where you have to be very careful when I do use those words because it can to some people become overwhelming immediately or thinking it's not possible. So you can start and instill a limiting belief really quickly if you're not careful. If people don't realize it's a journey.
Hmm.
I'm not keen on that word, But it is, lifestyle change takes a long time and you perfect it along the way because we change as people as well, especially as women. Hormone fluctuations play a big part, especially when you become into your 40s.
Mm,
Most of the things that worked in my 20s and 30s don't work now. So it's that constant evolving, but feeling empowered as well, but also helping somebody to spot when let's say their resilience is failing in them. It's so what worked before is not working anymore. And they then think, okay, so how can I tackle this? What do I need to do now to change that? And that's when the goal comes in. That's when you set the goal. And like I say, that could be a small goal. It could be as simple as something as somebody's never drank much water and they'd need to get that involved in their lifestyle to see a change. And then some people, it's really small steps. Others come to me that are thriving. I have a lot of people that come to me that run their own businesses.
mm,
So they are under high stress and they are resilient and they are adaptable to a certain degree. But there's always a ceiling on that. So you've got to learn how to adapt, to reduce the stress, to open that pathway to be able to move to the next step. And that can't be done when you're just running all the time.
mm,
So that I think that's what I mean by resilience and adaptability.
mm. And I love what you say about the small steps. I think sometimes when we start to think about health and well-being, okay, right, I need to start doing these massive things, and we can put ourselves under a lot of pressure, can't we, to make massive changes that then they just don't last. So actually,
Absolutely.
yeah, these small steps moving towards a bigger goal seems to be what's really valuable in health coaching.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much the nervous system has an impact on how we respond to things. So, understanding our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system is really important. And I think that's what it'd be nice to help people to understand how important that is. It's not all about what you eat, how you sleep, how you move. There's
Mm,
it's a plethora of things
mm,
to help you function, and it's individual to
mm.
everybody. It's complex.
And what do you mean by nervous system? Like if someone's not really thought about their own nervous system, I know I certainly hadn't. um, what does that mean? What is it?
A nervous system, well, we have thousands of nerves that run through our body, and a lot of them are in our gut, which can cause a lot of sensitivity. So, if people, for example, are prone to IBS or stress or stuck gut issues, um, it can be coming from the gut. And if you're soothing the gut with food, with movement, with exercise, with calming techniques that calm down the nervous system, then you're coming out of fight or flight, which if you're in stress for a long time, that's what fight or flight is.
Mm,
Um, and fight or flight means you're running off adrenal glands and cortisol. And as we all know, or maybe we don't know, sorry, that means that if you stay in that zone for too long, you do end up coming to a very, let's call it a dangerous place of burnout, which then takes a lot longer to recover. So, with health coaching as well, it's going back to that initial story. There was nothing I could do in that terminal illness situation as a teenager.
mm,
But looking forward, I thought there's ways to prevent, there's ways to increase our longevity, there's ways to increase our energy. And all of that I think is really important. But if the crux of it is your nervous system that triggers every time, then you're going to need support to get that stabilized before you can look at anything else.
mm. And it's incredible, isn't it? Once someone is able to recognize their nervous system responses and live in a way that supports their body and their nervous system rather than in a state of constant fight or flight and threat. The changes can be huge, can't they? Have you seen that in your own practice?
Absolutely. And peace is a strong word I'd use here. I think peace is understood, the word peace is understood by everybody. Um, but getting a sense of peace or feeling safe in your own system is important. And some people never feel stress, they never feel that anxiety, and they thrive off it. And they've always been super well trained to not worry about it. And maybe that's because it's something to do with their genetics. So that's a different avenue. Whereas For the ones that do suffer with anxiety or a short stress response, how do you make that adaptable and calming? So, yeah, it's calming techniques, feeling at peace, feeling grounded, as we spoke about earlier. That is definitely something else. Getting yourself centered, become self-aware. If you get yourself back out of your head and into your body, I think that is the key. But staying there is quite difficult.
So we know it can be really challenging to make lasting health changes. So what strategies do you use to help clients overcome obstacles and stay committed to whatever their goal might be?
Thank you. That's an interesting question because everybody is completely different. And sometimes it's coaching is about the person you're coaching coming up with the answers. Sometimes they need a little bit of mentoring as well, which we bring in, especially with health coaching. We can look at blood sugar balancing and talk through how stress affects the body. So I like to include that with all of my clients so they understand a bit of the science behind it, which is all evidence-based. Everything we do is evidence-based.
Mm.
When it comes to that, and they need techniques to instill, it's gently bringing the conversations back every week because I like to meet people weekly if I can, especially if they're really busy, so they get some super Zoom focus time. And learning and understanding how they operate quite quickly to see how we can challenge their thought process as well. Because some people like to be pushed a little bit. Other people literally do want more mentoring and say, yes, tell me more about that, so they can make out their own decision. So it is a gentle process in that sense because you don't want to scare people too early that they stop thinking about it and it becomes daunting.
Mm.
But some people do like the bigger picture and they thrive on that. So you can go quite fast with that. But the other ones that's gently, some people it's been, I want to go to the gym and I want to go regularly. And we found a way, ironically, with one chap, we found a way. And I says, okay, I'm going to give you access to WhatsApp me. Every day you're going to go to the gym. And the week after I spoke to him, after we decided that was going to be one of the solutions, and he says, Polly, I've started going to the gym. And I've done it because I didn't want to WhatsApp you because I didn't want you to know that I wasn't doing it. I was just going to do it. And it was his own choice and decision that that wasn't going to work for him. So yeah, sometimes the things I may suggest might not be right, but it just gives more room for that person to be able to go, but I prefer to do it this way. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's
Mm.
implement it going forward. And he
Yeah.
still goes to the gym now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's shifting mindset, isn't it?
Mm. And then I know you like to work, you work with all sorts of people, but particularly busy professionals who are facing high stress. So, how do you tailor your coaching approach to someone who's in that kind of lifestyle and circumstance?
Yeah, I mean, with any client, we always start with a health profile. So we always deep dive into understanding if there's any medical issues, how they sleep, how they eat. It's very important as a health coach to start there so you can really build a pattern of where they are right now. And that's the point. You start where they are now. So we literally start at that point, and they may have a goal, and that goal may change quite dramatically over time. But what I've found, because I've run my own business for 8 years and I have been independent for so long, I have lived under high stress a lot of the majority of the time. So I can notice the signs of, okay, where to offer tweaks within that, um, and also how to mindfully coach and offer techniques. Because some people think you just have to go. I haven't got time to think about myself. I haven't got time to think about what I eat. I haven't got time to meditate. I haven't got time to exercise in the way I want to. So it's about making a plan where it just starts the momentum.
Mm.
But I have worked with some people who literally have said, right, I'm going to do this challenge. I've never swam before. I want to do it for this charity in this month, and how can you help me get there?
Mm.
And then I've got others who I want to lose weight, but I've never exercised in my life. So, and these are all people that run their own companies.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So it varies.
So, as health coaches, I know we like to talk about nutrition. So, what role would you say nutrition plays in a holistic approach to health and wellness? And how do you guide clients in making sustainable dietary changes?
Yeah, it's a good question, that one, because with health and well-being, there's many different routes and there's a lot of noise out there, and unfortunately not one technique is ever going to solve any of this. It is, well, as you say, a holistic approach. But when it comes to the nutrition, our body needs fuel. It's a given. We need to give it the right fuel. And I strongly believe if you have the opportunity to have genetic and hormone testing to start with as well, if you've got that opportunity to really understand what your allergies are, how that impacts how you actually metabolize food, how it gives you energy or how it doesn't. So if you are in a situation where you're happy to do that, that's a very good starting point to build a nutritional plan. But also, I do like to work with people who just have not learnt about blood sugar balancing, for
Mm,
example. Blood sugar balancing can ward off chronic disease amazingly. And I wouldn't say it's the complete crux of all of the health and well-being, but it definitely is somewhere everyone can start. They can change their diet. Food does impact your mood. We know ultra processed foods are terrible for us because they can cause anxiety, depression, and also they do lead sadly to chronic disease if people do decide to choose that way of life 80% of the time. So it's getting that balance. Again, I'm not a fan of the word balance, but it is. It's a balance for you that gives you enough energy, that's sustainable, but then you can use food to help you produce enough serotonin to sleep at night as well. And you can build a nice pattern that suits your lifestyle. And that might be that you're one of these people that needs to graze throughout the day, or you need set meals, or you like to plan, or if you're a bit ad hoc, okay, how are you going to do that to be able to sustain the way you're living your life? So there will be tweaks, there will be changes, but it's always been a real eye opener for people, and they've always been really, really inspired to carry on once they've
mm.
started.
And I think the word tweaks is quite helpful, isn't it? It's often nutritional tweaks, not like a wholesale change, and you must never eat any of these things and you must always eat that. It's very much more taking where someone's at and making tweaks. Have you ever had any clients who've been really skeptical or said, "Oh no, I don't want to do this nutrition stuff," and then actually been surprised at the changes they've seen?
Yes, again, that was a very gentle approach because also we're still very much stuck in branded foods. So people think if it's branded, it must be good for me if it says so on the packet. So again, with some people I've worked with, they've chosen, for example, to start eating sourdough over white bread or changing their Coca-Cola to a lemon and water, something like that. But over time, it's getting them to realize what's in it as well for them to make the choice of what is the right food to eat. So, for example, with the sourdough, they'll choose still a brand which still has a lot of ingredients in it. And then it's getting to the next stage of that, which takes time that, okay, really you only want 3 or 4 ingredients in sourdough. So it's doing that gently to not aggravate people feel they're failing, but people need to see the benefit of doing it first to really believe in it. I really strongly believe that you should have 30, 40 different fruits, herbs, spices every week. Definitely. It can do amazing things for our mental health as well.
Mm. Yeah, five a day is a bit of a low bar, isn't it?
Yes.
Bit unambitious. Yeah. So, what can clients expect from an appointment with you? How does the whole thing work, and how do you ensure that it's a kind of personalized experience for each person?
Okay, so yeah, I've already mentioned a little bit about their health profile. That is protocol. We always start with a health profile, but I think it's important as well because it gives people time to reflect on where they are. So with that, the sessions normally last. First ones are normally a little bit longer, maybe an hour to 15 to an hour and a half. But the protocol is that we'll either choose a program of 4 weeks if people are still a bit skeptical to get into it, a program of 8 or 12. We have maintenance plans as well after that, or we can just keep going weekly or bi-weekly. Habits take a long time to break, up to 6 days, and to instill it can take up to a year. So there's a long road, but some people may just want to dip in. So whatever works for them. So with the 4 weeks, we'd very much look at understanding a bit about the blood sugar balancing. We would definitely set goals. We always set goals. We'd look into understanding what health means to them, looking at a wellness plan. We'd also look at values. And if there is any limiting beliefs, we also look to try and dissolve those if we can. And it runs through every program. But the more longer time you spend with me, the more access you get. And we can do this in person or we can meet on Zoom. I think it's nice to meet in person at least a few times if we can. I'm based down in London. I'm based in Teddington, but I move around London all the time to meet clients. So yeah, it's it's a journey of self-discovery, but it's really empowering. Even if they did 4 weeks, they'll notice a difference.
So, where can people find out more about you, Polly?
Well, I am putting all my energy into vitalhealthcoaches.com. So people can find me on your website.
Great. Okay. Well, it's been a real pleasure to chat with you today. Thank you so much for sharing some of your own story and some of your insights and perspectives on health and well-being and taking a holistic approach to that. So, yeah, thank you, Polly, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Claire. It's been a delight. And hopefully, there's people out there that want to feel empowered again. So, yeah, do get in touch.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. For more on how a health coach can support you in your health journey, please go to vitalhealthcoaches.com.